Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Trhe.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to another Sitrep podcast stream. We're back for our second time today. I'm joined today by Dylan over in Australia, and we're going to be taking a look at Valor Victory by Barrow Doyle, obviously originally written for World War II. We are going to add yet another decade to our expansion. So we've done this in 1967-68 Vietnam, 1982 Lebanon, 1982 Falklands, and today we're going to push into the 1990s, hopefully. Fingers crossed, in a 1993 Somalia expansion. So hopefully, Jen, do we sound okay on the stream? And if we could get a sound test from you, Mr. Dillon, please.
Good morning, everybody.
All right, quick check. Can you guys hear Dylan okay? Hello, Scrollback. Hello, Because Science Teacher. Okay, cool. Awesome. So sounds that sounds like sound is okay for both of us. That's slightly annoying. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was supposed to be able to do that sound test over there. And then also, Jen and Skoback, last sound check, please. Does this background sound okay? You should hear distant artillery and military radio chatter in the background. Either Because Science Teacher or Skoback, let us know if that sounds okay or if it's too loud, too soft, anything like that. Cool. Okay, so one more time. Yeah, we're doing Valor Victory here in 1993. Again, originally written by Barry Doyle. A great little free game. You can go to valor-and-victory.com. Download this game for the great big fat price of $0. It is a free game to print and play. Of course, that's usually for World War II. You won't find these 1993 Somali and US Ranger miniatures or maps, but you can get the system, you can download the rules, you can download tons of stuff for it that people are always making new materials for. It's a great community over there. It's on Board Game Geek, you can get it, or you can check out what people are creating for it. People create everything from, I've done World War I, again, Vietnam, Lebanon, Falklands, now Somalia. People have done Mars attacks in Valor Victory. People do all kinds of crazy stuff with this game. So it's a lot of fun. Super simple, easy to learn. And, normally you play it on a table, but today we're going to be playing it here on the web. So, for those of you who may not have seen the movie Blackhawk Down, we are looking at the backgrounds for what is called the Battle of Mogadishu. This is October 3rd and 4th. It kind of started in the late afternoon, went through the night, and ended the next morning of 1993. So, we've got two maps of Mogadishu. This is, I believe, the biggest city in Somalia, in East Africa at the time. Yeah, Somalia has been in a rough place for quite a while. The civil war that we are going to be recreating a very small part of here is actually still in progress, I'm sorry to say. I don't think the United States is very heavily involved in it at the moment, but it was pretty heavily involved in it back in the 1990s. You had some warlords in control of certain areas. They were using the ongoing famine in the country as a method to control the population. And then when the United Nations would try to send in aid to help some of these people through the famine, some of these militias would take control of the shipments of aid and only give it out to their allies, people who weren't loyal to them, basically trying to starve their opponents or people who weren't even, on their side, like neutrals, like innocent civilians, into joining their force or just to die. They were using hunger as a weapon, is the line from the movie. and it's a pretty good line actually. Needless to say, some of these people that were doing this were not exactly on Americans' Christmas card list. The Marines went in first, tried to stabilize the situation. There were some attacks there in 1992 and 93. The Marines were pulled out. Later on, the Army was sent in as well. Marines again, the United Nations. We have Pakistani troops in here, Malayans, different parts of the UN. It became a thing, as you know, some of us might remember, or again, people who have seen the movie. Quick personal note, October 1993, this was the month I got out of the Marine Corps. So I was getting processed out, and I had like some last minute choices, like did I really want to leave or not? And I was like, you know, you get to that, you know, I really did want to leave because, you know, I'd been in the Marine Corps for, you know, several years by that point. It was time for me to move on. After the Gulf War, the Clinton administration, the Marine Corps was not a big, the military in general was not a really big career path because it was going to be downsized and everything else. But nevertheless, you know, you're all like, you know, second guessing yourself. Oh, maybe I should stay in or whatever. And then this happened, and I was like, you know what, I'm making the right call. Not to put too fine a point on it. So this battle was part of the reason I finally did actually leave the military, you know, way long ago. But for today, again, the raid that is famous, or infamous, I should say, in this battle is the United Nations, I should say the United States, Rangers, US Army, which same thing. Rangers are part of the US Army, obviously, and Delta Force were trying to capture certain key leaders that were hiding out in a place called the Bakara Market. This was like the worst spot in Mogadishu at the time, as far as, you know, enemies of the United States, the United Nations, and their ongoing efforts in this area. The Delta Force operators were supposed to land on the roof of this building via helicopter, take the building, take the high-profile targets, while Rangers would land from Blackhawk helicopters in four, you know, corners around their insertion point, secure a perimeter, and then everyone was supposed to leave on the ground. Prisoners, Delta Force, and Rangers, security perimeter troops were supposed to, you know, all leave together. And I can't remember if they were originally going back to the Pakistani HQ, the soccer stadium, or HQ Task Force Ranger. I'm pretty sure they were coming back here, but something went wrong and all kinds of stuff happened. Needless to say, this raid did not go well. Troops got lost, troops got pinned down by fire, vehicles were hit by RPGs and heavy weapons, all kinds of things started to go wrong. And then, as the name of the movie implies, Blackhawks started getting shot down. And once the Blackhawk was shot down, now it became another battle. Now you had to send troops to that crash site, secure a perimeter around that crash site, exfil your casualties, either wounded or killed, it didn't matter, nobody gets left behind. You have to get your people out of there. By then, there's another battle, and now another helicopter gets shot down. Now there you have to, you know, it just keeps expanding into this continuous mess. Again, I won't go through the whole movie, but that's pretty much what turns into what becomes known as the Battle of Mogadishu. At the time, it was the largest sustained firefight the United States military had been in since the Vietnam War. We wound up losing 19 killed and something like 75 wounded. Somali casualties are in dispute. It's anywhere between 300 and 1,000 killed, and 1,000 and 4,000 wounded. You know, God only knows how many of these people, you know, got killed either in the battle or in the crossfire. This whole city just turned into an absolute nightmare. So we're going to be trying to do a small piece of that in today's Valor Victory game. No. Dylan, you were saying that you had done some Mogadishu or Somalia gaming in Force on Force?
Yeah, a friend and I, a while ago now, we went through the Day of the Rangers book, and pretty much played most of the games in that from the Force on Force expansion. He's got a massive Somalia table and massive 28mm minis.
Oh, I was going to ask what scale you were playing in, because I usually did Force on Force in either 15 or 20. You were doing it in 28?
Yeah, it's really awesome to see like 120 skinnies running around a 28mm table. It's awesome.
Oh my God, that's anyone who can put any kind of a force of that number in 28mm is Has got my respect, that's for sure. So here is our map. This is not supposed to be a specific Blackhawk crash site. This isn't supposed to be, Super 6-1 or Super 6-4. This is just a general slice of North Africa / Middle East urban area with a crashed Blackhawk here in the northeast. Sorry, in the northwest. The casualties are in the cockpit, so they're in hex A2, as marked there by that little yellow targeting icon. We have 3 groups of civilians on the board. Again, civilians are not controlled by either player. And then we have 2 entry points for the Rangers. The Rangers have 2 Humvees and an understrength platoon. Not everyone can fit in 2 Humvees. Obviously, you cannot fit 30 men in 2 Humvees. It doesn't work that way. So some of these guys are going to start off on foot. I think some more guys are going to wind up on foot because we have roadblocks that are blocking the route, and there are also heavy machine guns and RPGs that can stop these Humvees as well. Humvees are lightly armored, but not really armored when it comes to actual armor-piercing weapons. One thing I did forget to do was to turn on my webcam. Sorry, guys. So I'll turn on my webcam there really fast so I can get some dice tray going here, and we'll get started. What we were going to experiment with here, again, you guys tell me what you think, is sort of a... Again, normally in a battle like Force, I'm sorry, I kept talking about Force on Force. Normally in a battle like Valor Victory, you got here's Force A and here's Force B. I'm going to have the Somalis actually be a pretty small force at the moment, but then they're going to come on in a pretty much random place. And as far as the battle progresses, this is going to be the dice down here. This is going to be what appears, and they can appear anywhere on the map. As long as they're not appearing within 6 hexes of the closest US unit. So it's going to be a little bit like what we're trying to recreate here is a city gone crazy. Either here in Mogadishu 1993, or we can even port some of these rules over into our ongoing 13 hours, 13 days Benghazi 2012 game, where you have, again, American troops American operators starting off in vehicles, trying to cross a city in chaos and get to a point where they can help somebody who's in trouble. There's going to be a lot of parallels between this game and our upcoming transit game for 13 hours. Or I should say 13 days to 13 hours is the official name of our Sitrep podcast project. Okay, so give me just a second to get my silly webcam sorted out here. Okay, we're all set with Sitrep podcast. We got a dice tray, we got some dice. All right. So
speaking of movies and TV shows, you can also use this sort of thing for The Long Road Home. If anyone's seen that about Iraq, well, it's essentially the same thing. Like the insurgents lure in a US, I think it's a platoon, trap it, and then ambush the reinforcements that come in.
Yeah, it's
a really flexible sort of thing.
Almost not even. I don't think this game here is going to be quite as flexible as the 13 hours game, but I'm taking baby steps because that 13 days transit game is going to be a radical departure from most. You're going to have not only militias growing and shrinking in size, but certain elements of the militia switching sides. You're going to have some elements that are ambivalent, some that are hostile, some that are friendly, and then they're going to be switching back and forth between those 3 states. And the GRS operators in that game are going to have certain things that they can do to modify that. Either by not shooting at everything that pops its head up, they're going to keep the overall level of violence down, agitation down in the city, and also by judicious use of their interpreter. There's an unarmed interpreter with that group historically, and he's going to be talking to militia and either calming down hostile militia, trying to coax ambivalent militia to become friendlies, or trying to keep friendlies from becoming ambivalent and leaving because they get scared. That will be happening here, but in a more general sense, like to speak to Dylan's point, almost in a non-military sense, I think it's been published recently where I think it was sometime in the aughts, like 2005, 2007. we officially reached a tipping point or whatever where more than half of the people on planet Earth now live in cities of 1 million people or greater. And obviously, warfare, we talk about, here on Sitrep podcast, what is modern warfare? 1945, fancy guns, thermal sights, whatever. Modern warfare is becoming more and more urban. The idea of the battlefield is becoming obsolete. I mean, people don't go out into a field and fight anymore. It's always in a city. So you got things like the Long Road Home, Mogadishu, Blackhawk Down, Benghazi 2012. This is the new norm. Sadly, I say sadly because number one, heavy casualties in urban combat. There's always civilians running around. There's collateral damage. People do live there, like they say in Blackhawk Down. It's not like the old days where you would line up in a grassy field and if you hit anything that you weren't shooting at, it was a cow or a farmer's barn or something. There's always going to be this other stuff in the way. So anyway, here's our map. Thanks very much, science teacher. Cool. We've made the airport look much further away. Yeah, these are terribly narrow streets, and there's no straight road. So from the Bakara market to the airport is maybe 2 miles as the crow flies. But if you're trying to do that, like catty corner streets with people burning tires and setting up roadblocks, every couple blocks, God knows how long it's going to take you to get there. How circuitous your route eventually has to be. But those 2 miles, again, from the Bakara marketplace back to Mogadishu airport, or later on, I think some of them evacuated to this Pakistani headquarters. They're talking about this decommissioned soccer stadium up here, which is even closer. It still took them all day to get there. Literally all night. They got pinned down in that city all night, and then they eventually got pulled out of there later on that night. The column of vehicles that eventually got them out of there was over 1.5 miles long. It's only at 1.5 miles between the 2 points. So this battle grew out of all planned proportions. It absolutely got out of control. Because, that's how it happened. Cool. Thanks very much, because science teacher, on the map. And cool. We'll get started here. All right. So the first thing to figure out is who's playing who. Dylan, you say it really doesn't matter to you? You play the Somalis or the Rangers?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to play the Somalis or the Rangers.
All right, tell you what. If the red... I'm sorry, I have a red... I keep saying red. Here, I'll get a red dice just so I don't sound like an idiot. I have a red dice and a black dice here. I meant to say red all along. All right, so if the red dice comes up high, you'll play the Somalis. If the black dice comes up high, I'll play the Somalis. So black for me on Somalis. And black for me on Somalis. We got a 1 to 4. Cool. So cool. I'm playing the Somalis. Yay! Alright, so I'll set up roughly half my forces.
Yeah, as Jim was saying with the battle going on to the night, that was actually a pretty important, because the Somalis, a popular thing to do in Somalia at the time was to chew what's called cat, which is like a drug substance, which during the day acts like almost like a long-lasting mild cocaine, but at night it's a brutal depressant. So as the night came on, a lot of Somali troops became much less sort of crazy, much less willing to do these sort of crazy attacks that they were doing, a lot lazier, a lot more docile. So it was a really, it's a weird fight.
That's brought up briefly even in the movie. I think McKnight is questioning. McKnight is Lieutenant Colonel Daniel McKnight. He's commanding the column of vehicles that is sent in to grab the Delta Force. It's pretty much 3 forces. There's Deltas, there's Rangers, and then there's McKnight's column. And then later you get Malayans and Pakistanis. You get tanks in there. All kinds of stuff goes crazy later. But he's talking for a while. At the beginning of the battle, he's like, why are we going in? We're going in with little birds instead of Spectre gunships. We're going in with the AC-130 Spectre gunships. We're going in without tanks. We're going in Humvees. Humvees are not exactly combat vehicles, no matter what people tend to think. We're not going in at night. We're going in daylight. Worse than that, he says specifically to your point, we're going in late afternoon when they're all, fucked up on cot. When you have to take into effect, or when you have to take into account, the effects of narcotics into your battle plan, welcome to modern warfare. Just to help the game get started here and have it jump off a little bit, I will put some guys probably a little too far forward, but that's okay. Just because I want to have some fun. I figure people have been listening to us blather for too long, as it is. Well, when I say that, I mean me blather. You've been letting me talk. Do too much of the talking. Okay, and what we'll say is at the beginning of every Somali command phase, we'll roll 2 dice on this chart, and that chart will determine what comes, 2d6. That chart will kind of show what comes on. It can come on anywhere I want. They literally pop up out of a basement somewhere. We'll say they have to start from a building hex. How about that? They have to come from a building hex, which is most of them. And they have to be at least 6 hexes from the closest US unit, but they can be in front of you, to the side, behind. Again, this is the classic, city gone crazy kind of a thing. Grenade rules, sniper rules, American casualty evacuation rules, medic rules, all that is pretty much the same. I will put on 2 technicals here, but I'll have them start pretty far back. Because there's no role to get the technicals on the map. So, if the technicals appear, or I should say, these technicals are the only technicals I get. They're not on the reinforcement table. Let me try and get to where I'm locked into my own roadblocks here. Okay. Alright, cool. And again, there's other Somali units that might appear, but we'll see how that goes on our table. So, now heading over to the American Rangers. I didn't really go into the Somali militia. Again, people who watch our channel have probably seen our NVA, our PLO battles, our Viet Cong battles here in Valor Victory. They're pretty much the same. Relatively untrained militia with AK-47s, RPGs, RPKs, PKMs. I literally just changed the artwork. There's no new rules there. That same cannot be said for our American Rangers. So I should say I sort of invented these Humvee or Hummer, whatever you want to call them, vehicles here. They are still technically considered unarmored. So if they get hit by anything with an armor-piercing class, they are automatically destroyed. That is, on this table, a Dushk or an RPG. Those are things that have an actual armor-piercing weapon. Small arms can also destroy a Humvee, but it's pretty tough because they have a casualty rating of 5. The way Valor and Victory handles vehicles is a little weird. But technically these are considered unarmored vehicles. However, there is like Kevlar and steel plating in the doors, in the hood, underneath to help protect against mines a little bit. Although it's not a tank by any stretch of the imagination. Those are technically M1025 Humvees, weapons carriers. So you'll see there's a 50 caliber there on the roof that has an A-class armor piercing rating. It can destroy light armored vehicles or armored targets. It's a 50 cal. And it's got a 6 attack factor. That 6 attack factor is in a white circle. So again, people who are familiar with Valor and Victory, 360-degree firing arc. Pretty much a big Jeep with some armor plating and a 50 cal on it. It's a Humvee. Our leaders are pretty much the same. All American Rangers are obviously E for elite up there in the upper right-hand side. We have teams. That's the values for the team of 4. Then we have a squad of 8. They have, obviously double numbers. This 3-1A and 3-2A, these are the anti-tank values in that squad, or in that fire team. So unlike other fire teams that we see in World War II, Vietnam, Lebanon, even the Falklands, you have just regular fire teams, and then if you want them to have some kind of anti-tank capability, you have to attach a law or an M203 or an M79 Blooper or who knows what as a support weapon. Once you get into the Gulf War and afterwards, every single American fire team, 4-man fire team, has a saw gunner, that's a light machine gun, hence the numbers are so high, and an M203 grenade launcher underneath one of the M16s. So we're talking about at least a light anti-tank weapon, anti-tank in huge air quotes. I would not exactly want to go fight T-72s with an M203, but it'll take care of a Somali technical with no problem. So you've got a lot of technical killing weapons here. That's why I wasn't too bashful about putting Somali technicals in this game. Number one, we know they were there, and number two, literally, except for your medic and your commanders, every single unit can take out light tanks. Or I should say light vehicles like technicals, because you have these M203s. So 3 is the range, 2 is how many M203s are considered to be in that squad, and A is the armor piercing value, which is the smallest one, but it's only an M203. But again, any unarmored vehicle, Humvee or technicals definitely included, that is hit by any kind of armor piercing weapon, even if it's only an A, automatically destroyed. So I think in our Vietnam game, you had your Australians with your Centurion, like eating RPG fire, because you had like an armor rating of E. If memory serves.
Lots and lots of fun with the Centurion.
Yeah, I was like ping, ping, ping. It's like, how many times do I have to hit this thing with an RPG before I never did take it out. Again, Somali technicals, Centurion, big difference. I would not want to fight a Centurion with these guys M203s. The movie has M60 E3s in it. I know sometimes US infantry squads also carry M240s as their GPMG. I made them up both just to cover my bases. There's also a law here that we see in the movie. I don't know if they were there historically, but M72 law to take out technicals, and again, some medics. So the Americans are they're obviously much smaller force, a little bit more complicated than the Somalis, but obviously much more powerful. So this Humvee can carry this stuff. This Humvee can carry this stuff. These two squads, or this is a squad and a half actually, start off on foot. So it's up to you where your guys want to come in from. They can enter from either of these two indicated roads by these blue arrows. Because science teacher, no, the Blackhawks should not be black, because that's just the name of the helicopter. Were the Blackhawks actually black in that movie? I don't know. I don't think they were black in Mogadishu. They were either desert sand or like olive green. Americans will name their helicopters after Indian tribes. We have the Apache, the Cherokee, the Sioux, the Iroquois. I think I already said that. The Blackhawk, the Cheyenne. This is the Blackhawk, UH-60. Hello, Mr. Cobra. Cobra is technically, capital T in huge air quotes, a rebuilt Huey. A Huey is technically a UH-1 Iroquois. So I have to put a lot of air quotes around that. I'd say technically about 72 times, but technically that's the naming convention there. That's the lineage on that one.
Which also technically with massive air quotes means that pretty much every US helicopter is named enemy, just in a different language.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what all the tribal names mean. So
can't argue with that. That's probably what these people call them. Big black thing in the sky that we have to shoot down with an RPG. Okay, so welcome very much. UK's Wildcat is a Lynx. Okay. Yeah, Wildcat and Lynx are almost the same thing. I mean, I doubt a Lynx likes to be called a Wildcat, but... Okay. Alright, so yeah, I'm set up and ready to go. We begin the American command phase. American command phase would be if you wanted to combine or split up any of your squads.
Yeah, I'll split the two squads into two half squads.
No worries. I will not delete them because I might need them again later. Oh. I always do this. I set up and then I want a turn on
for the
sheet.
yep.
I always do this. It's not a big deal for the stream or for the game itself, but I like to keep each turn as its own tab in the workbook because it makes the battle report easier. Okay.
Yep.
So now I can go ahead. I still won't delete them. So the first phase in Valor and Victory is what they call the command phase. This is where you rally troops, you divide squads, you recombine squads, you reassign support weapons, you pretty much manage. If you had any support weapons, here's where you would call them in. Again, that's for people in the chat. If I ever over-explain anything else, sorry, I'm talking to the chat. I mean, I know you know this game.
No, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. It is a weird game if you didn't know what you were looking at. But like, what the hell's going on here? What's it leading squads?
Hello, Sitrep Podcast. All right, everybody, Sitrep 6 is in the house. Smarten up. All right, so we got a bunch of people here with us today. Thanks, everyone, for coming by. Gaz is with us. Gianna's with us. Because Science Teacher's with us. Goback's with us. All right. So that's going to end your command phase. Let's go now with your... well, there's no fire phase because you're not on the map yet. We go to your movement phase.
Okay, I'm going to have the first technical.
The first Humvee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whoops. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go. I'm gonna barrel from N12.
Okay.
And just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna end up in H10 facing north.
Okay, so N12. I cannot see you with my RPG up here. 1.
Yep.
2, 3, 4, 5 to turn. We're slightly cheating here, guys. Bear with me. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have a movement of 14. These Humvees are actually pretty fast. So yeah, you can do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'll go one more. I'll go to H9.
Okay. And are your guys going to stay in that Humvee, or are they going to bail out?
They're going to bail out because it's so close to the roadblock.
That is probably Lieutenant Jacobson, a fire team of guys carrying an additional M240. Hey, Skullback is back. Blackhawk Indians. Yeah. All Army aircraft are named after Indian tribes. We had this we had this discussion. Gaz was very quick to ask, what about the Cobra? And I had to kind of walk him through that. You might be able to address that better than I did.
I think this is where we got this really weird overlap. So you've got G, who's really good in aircraft. You're good on your modern military, and then I know all my Indian tribes from my French-Indian War and Wild West gaming. So we've got this weird.
Yeah, the only parts of the American Indians I know are the Iroquois Confederacy, because that's all literally Battle of Oriskany. So, like, the 6 tribes, the Confederacy, the Huron, is not one of the 6 tribes, but all that upstate New York.
They were the enemy of the Yeah.
Okay, so this guy could have seen that shooting out of M10 if he wants to. You know what? You've already moved, so I'll go ahead and say he didn't. I was so wrapped up in whether or not my RPG could see that that I did not.
That's right, because the second Humvee's going to end up in H10 doing the same thing, so he could be shot at.
All right, cool. So here comes the second Humvee under Sergeant Williams here. He's going to come down at 10, 12. I'm going to wait till he's here, and then I'm going to open fire. Now, I got a grand total of 11 points. That puts me, wrong chart. That puts me here on the gray table, barely. Okay. Do I have any commanders in there? I have no commanders in there. That's going to suck. I have to roll really well to do anything here. All right. Turn on the webcam. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, Noijatat. They're from way up in near Seattle. Just said that. The Chinook tribe.
All right, so yeah, Sitrep podcast. This is actually our second stream of the day. Don't know if you saw our earlier stream. It's currently being edited in YouTube. It's updating in YouTube, but yeah, we're continuing on 13 hours, 13 days as well as this. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, so my first band of Somali SNA. This is Mohammed Farah Adid's Somali National Alliance Militia is going to open fire. I'm on the 11 column. I'm trying to roll as low as I can because that's how Valor Victory works. Most good war games, I feel, work like this, i.e. low numbers are better than high numbers. I don't understand how most games work, whether you need a high number. It's like the whole game is backwards, but whatever. It kind of is. You have to reverse every equation in the back of your head. All right, so here we go. Here comes Snake Eyes. Hell no, that's an 11. I almost got an American sniper on the table. All right, so yeah, he pretty much panic fired as you drove by. You kind of like laughed at him, blew him the bird as you drove past him. Hey, you almost like hit us, man. Really? He didn't come close. Yeah, but I want him to feel good about himself. You know?
It's the classic upside down AK over the head.
Yeah. He almost shot himself before he shot. All right, so is Williams and his guys gonna go ahead and bail out?
Yep, they're all gonna bail out.
Right. These are really. I understand these are really heavily packed Humvees. When you actually think about how many guys these units represent, but like this Humvee is carrying 7 people, plus a driver, plus a machine gunner. That's a lot of people to fit into a Humvee, but that's fine. Okay, cool. All right, then you've got two understrength platoons, a squad and a half, 2 sections on foot.
Okay, I'm gonna need to start dealing with these buildings.
Go ahead. To answer your question, Gaz, yes, I am running some mobs in this. We do have a table for that. You'll come to it when we come to the Somali command phase. Okay, go ahead.
It's a little risky, but N12 with the first 3.
Okay. So you have 4 infantry units in that hex. That is barely legal, but it is legal.
Yep.
Okay, and I'll get it. Oh, actually, technically not, because you've got 5 infantry units. You have a medic. So are you leaving the medic behind?
I'll leave the medic.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'll leave the medic separate. Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
so
for those who are wondering, that's why you would combine squads to stack more people in the hex.
Yes, that is the reason. Sometimes, especially for attacks, like when we play Valor and Victory World War I, you never divide squads. It is 8-man squads stacked 4 deep and just charge. And yeah, hopefully the German machine gun will jam or something. Modern warfare, however, is a lot less dense. So, okay, here they are. They're coming up on N12. This guy's already taken his defensive fire, so...
Yep. They're going to go M12, L11, and then L10.
They're kicking in the side door. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have an officer with them. They can go more, or I guess they're going to assault.
Yeah, they'll assault later, so I don't want to go any further right now.
Alright, that unit did have a law with them, so I'll bring the law along. Cool. And the medic is just kind of here for now. No worries. Okay,
yeah, he'll run over something.
Alright, so you've got a little bit left for your movement. Those guys there.
These guys. 1, 2, 3.
While you're thinking about that, Gaz, I'm not sure if you're talking about civilian mobs or militia mobs, but in short, we have both. Gianna says she fought the law and the law won. Gianna, did you get arrested again? I'm kidding, she didn't get arrested. What do you mean you fought the law and the law won? I don't understand what that means, but anyway.
The law rocket.
Oh, the law rocket, gotcha. Sorry. Now Jen's saying that she is the law. Okay, Sylvester Stallone. that joke totally went over my head. Sorry. That joke went over my head the way that one Somali AK fire went over the head of those Humvee drivers.
These guys are going to go down the road, so what's it? 1, 2, 3, probably about H11.
Okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can get to I-11.
Yep, that works.
Movement range, for people in the chat, movement rate in Valor Victory is always 6. If you have an officer, or I should say a leader. They don't necessarily have to be officer, like commissioned officers. If you have a leader with the hex. And I'm getting too nitpicky with my stacks here. Okay.
And the medic will be in just K12. Just in that little
You
bit.
should have two. Okay, there it is. The medic is going to technically can't make it. 1,
Oh,
2,
sorry, L12 then. L12.
3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. His movement is only a 4 because again he doesn't have any. He doesn't have a leader with him. Cool. All right, so I have no more lines of sight immediately. That's it for your movement. Now we go to my defensive fire. This guy cannot take defensive fire because he already took opportunity fire and whiffed it. Alright, just to get this stream going here, Mr. Majub here is going to, he's actually my main Somali commander here, is going to take a shot down the street against this squad that just debarked from that Humvee.
Yep.
I have a total of 9 points. I have -2. You are in the open. You have no cover, so I'm just subtracting 2 from this roll. This is the guy I should have had with my RPG. Okay, so webcam time. I'm on this 5 to 10 row, and I'm subtracting 2 from my roll. Come on, low roll. Another bad roll. 10. Rangers are lucky so far. That 10 gets read as an 8, but even an 8, that's a barely I missed. 8 on 5 to 10 row is no effect. Okay, I think that's going to be it for my defensive fire. Nobody else can really see anything yet. Let me see what else I have here. Done. I'm going to start playing the Blackhawk down music in my head. I'd play it now, we'd get copyright dinged. That douche can't see anything yet. Ooh, actually this guy can see something, but he'd be shooting over a wall. Alright, you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and take a shot. We have a half squad here with an RPD, light machine gun. It's a total of 6 points. Now as he shoots, let me get a little line of sight drawing here. So there's 2 kinds of terrain in Valor and Victory, very roughly speaking. There is obstructing terrain and hindrance terrain. So a hindrance terrain is, there we go. A hindrance terrain is something that you can see over, but it obstructs your view a little bit. So that would be this wall. This wall is providing partial cover. You always measure line of sight, center of the hex to center of the hex. You use the center dot. That's why there's a dot in the center of every hex. And as you can see, it just barely clips this this wall here. So that does add 1 to my roll. I can do it, but at a penalty. Is the long story short, take your first shot. Long story short, take another shot. Yeah, it's going to be 6 plus 1. I have no commander in there, and I'm +1 hindrance. This is a long shot. My good shot missed. This shot's going to be really bad. 5 to 10 row, I have to add 1 to my roll, so I'm looking for a 6 or below to hit something. And I roll a 7. Again, I missed because my dice are terrible. My dice are ass. And not even the good kind. Okay. That's going to be it for my defensive fire. Now we go to your advance and assault phase. You can either assault assault an adjacent unit, or foot units, infantry units, can move 1 hex.
Yep, so my my units in the Humvees are both going to move 1 hex forward.
Okay. They're just charging down the... Well, with my die rolls, I don't really blame them. They're just bouldering forward here. I was hoping to take out at least one of those Humvees before those 50 cal started. Okay, so this section here in I-11, are they going to go to H-10 or H-11?
They'll go to I-10.
I-10, okay, cool.
Little bit reckless because
Because I'm rolling like ass.
Yeah.
One of these days I'm going to start rolling a 6, I'm going to start rolling a 2, and then you're going to be like, oh no! Okay, I think I know what's coming here.
Big trouble. Yeah, the assaulting, if you can believe it.
Oh my god, dude. Rangers in the assault indoors. This is going to be horrendous. Oh god. Because this stack isn't like super powerful or anything. Let me pull
Although, believe me, I can wreck this. I can screw this up. Because anyone who's seen our Falklands games has seen me screw up an assault like this.
I don't know, man. You got 18 points in half squads plus a law. That gives you 23. That's if you want to use the law. I ask because the law is a one-use only weapon. Once you use it, it's out of the game. So you don't have to use it now, but if you do it, it adds 3 to your roll. I'm sorry, 5 to your roll.
So without the law, I'm 2-1, but with it, I'm 3-1.
Yeah, this is your... Well, without the law, you're at 20 versus 11. You're at 1-1.
Oh, that's right. Yep, 2-1, 1-1.
Yeah. With the law, you become 2-1. Now you're elite, so you subtract 1 from your roll for that. You have a -1 officer, you subtract 1 for that, and you can throw in some grenades.
Yeah, I'm going to use the law, but not any grenades.
A law and no grenades. Okay, the law is out of the battle now. It is expended. That's the black X there for people in the chat. That denotes an expendable weapon. Fire and forget weapon. You fire it and forget about it till the battle's over. So yeah, now we're down to 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 20, 25 becomes 25. Divided by 11, you're at 2-1. 8 plus 3 is 11. Indoor battle. Okay, we are definitely getting some casualties here. 23 divided by 11 is 2-1. No grenades. Subtract 2 from the die roll. So it's 2-1. Subtract 2 from the die roll. 1 for being elite. I think that's a house rule, but I use it anyway. Yep. And definitely -1 for the commander in there. I have no commander in there, no leader, so I don't get any bonus. So it's 2-1. Subtract 2 from the roll. Your odds are pretty good. You can't roll anything. Try to roll below a 10 on 2d6.
Yeah, 7.
7. That's a successful assault. Okay. So what you're trying to do here, guys, in the chat, is you're trying to get this close assault success number as high as you can. He was able to do it. He used up a law to do it. These 2 guys are automatically destroyed. Or really, it's 1 guy and it's like machine gun. PKM, that's a general purpose machine gun. Holy shit. Alright, so they're automatically destroyed. There was 1 infantry unit in that hex, and a building is 3. So that's 4 casualty points that you have to now assess.
Yep.
Do you want to pin them?
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to...
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to have to kill 1 and then pin the LT.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Buildings we're counting as 2. I know buildings are 3 in normal Valor and Victory. I always count buildings as 2 if you watch our previous streams. Number 1, these buildings are half destroyed. Look at they have no roof or whatever. Also, when you always assess 3, especially in an urban board, the battle just turns into a meat grinder. Yeah, so when you conduct a successful assault, you have to occupy the hex. You have now occupied the hex, and it's 1... Your cost for a successful assault is number of enemy infantry units in the hex, plus any terrain bonuses. So if we count that as 2, now you're down to 3. So you're talking about killing 1 half squad?
Yep, I'm going to have to suffer some casualties.
We have some losses in that building, replaced with an American casualty counter. Medic
and the reason
up
I do
front. Go ahead.
The reason I do that for everyone in the chat is that if I pinned all 3 of those squads and then screwed the rallies up, then the next turn he would basically capture,
16,
16 or 18 US troops?
It would be 3 plus 13 men.
Yeah, which is
if I capture that whole stack, which I would.
like 104 victory points or some ridiculous number like that. Yeah, so
1, 2, 3, 4 times 32 victory points. That would be
yeah.
game. The game would be
Yeah,
over on
that
turn
would be
1.
game. Mm.
So yeah, he's being a little aggressive here, but again, half the reason we run these on stream is to put on a show. So we're not exactly chess players here on Twitch. You know, these games would last 8 hours and like nothing would happen. So when we're playing live, we get a little crazy. All right. So that will now end the assault phase. We go to the ending phase, which is the last thing. You have no one to rally because the only casualties you took are killed. You can try to stabilize that casualty. You have no medic in there. Okay, but you've got guys that can give it a try. The normal number is a 6 or less on 2d6. You are elite troops, so it now becomes a 7 or less. Sergeant Erickson here, can either try himself, or he can apply his -1 and help one of these guys make the turn. But there's only one casualty in that hex, so only one guy can make the roll anyway. So I would suggest that Erickson apply his -1 leadership bonus to this half squad to try and stabilize the casualty. And that will give you a 6 plus 1 for elite plus 1 for his bonus, makes an 8. You need an 8 or less on 2d6.
7.
Barely made it. He is successfully stabilized and evacuated. So he will count as 4 victory points as opposed to... let me go ahead and get a little score sheet going here. As opposed to 8. So it's 1 victory point per Somali unit killed. This is a full squad, so he actually counts as 2. Right now the squad is 4-2. Somalis are winning. Because this guy counts as 4 and this guy counts as 2, because he's actually 2 units put into one counter. So you can see how asymmetrical this game gets. Okay, and I think that's for American turn 1. Somali turn 1. First thing we're going to do is we're going to roll on a Somali mob, the flexible militia table. So 2d6. That's the possible results. That's the possible units that show up. This is wrong dice. This is completely unplay tested, so I don't know if this is going to turn into a rout, but we'll see what happens. Here we go.
Although this is very common in Somali games, just hordes of people.
Yeah, so 7.
It's definitely thematic.
Means 2 squads are going to appear. They can appear anywhere I want, as long as they are at least 6 hexes from the closest American unit. Let me zoom out and get a decent look at the map here. One, two, three, four. I mean that 6 is too much. Holy crap.
Take it back to 4 or something.
Maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll take it back to 4, and I'll just say those 2 guys start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. We'll split the difference. They'll appear right there now. And okay, cool. So that's it for the new units appearing rule. We'll start with the official Somali command phase. What I'll do is I will start splitting some squads into 4-man fire teams. I talk about these guys like they're formal military. I'll break these big mobs into little mobs. What else? This guy. Gotta make sure I never get more than 4 infantry units in a hex. 1, 2, officers count. So that's 3 and 4. The RPG does not count. That's going to make it more deadly when this new assault gets started. It's the same number of men, so it might seem a little gamey. Oh, I take that squad, I divide it into 2 half squads. I just ran into a room, or I should say the Rangers just ran into a room, and instead of firing from 8 guys up front, there's 4 guys from either side. These hexes are 25 or so meters across. So you're taking fire from more directions. There's a reason why more squads, or more smaller units, can sometimes inflict more damage than a small number of big units. Also, it makes your stacks much squishier when it comes time to, or much spongier when it comes time to absorbing casualties. So if you have to, pin a unit, and you have 2 half squads instead of 1 full squad, it helps, because you're pinning half a squad instead of a full squad. Again, that's your unit spreading out in the face of enemy automatic fire. You're going to be more resilient to casualties that way. Okay, so where is my other RPG? Did I only give myself 1 RPG? Oh, this RPG never made it on the table. Okay, he came on with this group. I'll have to get a little bit more serious with this, whatchamacallit table. Because this RPG I'm about ready to lose. Okay, so that's it for my command phase. I'm going to now do my direct fire phase. Any unit that takes direct fire cannot move. So I have to think about what I want to shoot and what I don't. Erickson, you're in a lot of trouble, my man. Oh boy. Alright, so again, 9 minus 2 for my leadership. That's going to be this guy here. Get on, Mr. Webcam. That is that was a 6. And another 6, American Sniper. God damn it all to hell.
Oh, I love these.
Right
these
when
are so great.
Right when I was about to start feeling sorry for you. Okay, I just rolled Snake Eyes, guys, on my fire check of my actual Somali commander here against. Actually, it's a battle of commanders here. These 2 -2 commanders are the 2 actual, force leaders, 2 army commanders on the board. So it was a 9. 1 plus 8 is 9. Subtract 2 for his -2 command bonus. That's actually a bonus, not a penalty. And nevertheless, I still managed to roll boxcars. Whenever you roll boxcars on an anti-personnel firepower check in Valor Victory, what happens is an enemy sniper appears on the table. So we have a American sniper counter here with 14 with a scope. Pretty sure that was the sniper rifles being used in this battle. So you can appear from anywhere you want within 6 hexes of the offending unit. You have to cover. In other words, you can be in any building. It's the only real cover we have here. Well, we have some trees. You have to be under cover, appear within 6 hexes of the people that just rolled the 12, and then you get to make an immediate sniper check against that offending hex. So where do you want to put the sniper?
I'm going to go F5.
Okay. Foxtrot 5. Go away, OBS. Alright. So a sniper, somehow, a Delta Force sniper just pops up out of this basement. Okay, he immediately rolls 1d6. He subtracts 2 from my shattered building. And whatever result that is, that's the amount of immediate casualty points that hex sustains. So here's one of the few times in Valor Victory you want to roll high.
3.
3 minus 2 for my building becomes 1. I take 1 casualty point. I'll go ahead and pin down this squad. Which is actually pretty bad, because now he's going to get assaulted by Jacobson's Rangers here. Leading the way with an M240. That's going to get rough. Okay, my firefights is going great so far. Let's do some more. 6 minus... I think you're still... if you're not behind the wall, you're behind the roadblock. We'll count the roadblock as a hindrance. So
Okay.
again, it's going to be 6 + 1. I have to shoot through all the coming out of those burning tires. Alright, so here we go. I'm getting to stop rolling dice, man. I'm not doing very well. 9 because 1 becomes 10. No effect. Okay, that's it for him. Not doing well here, guys. Not doing well. But I have plans. I have plans within plans. Mr. Erickson, my man, how you doing? You have many issues at the moment. Alright, you have 12 enemies, 13. We're going to fire that RPG. You fired a law at us, Endor. Fire an RPG back at you. So that's going to be 12, 13 plus 4 is 17. Subtract 1 for my leader, add 2, because you technically get a building bonus, because you're inside a building.
Yep.
So it's going to be, what do I say, 12, 13, 17 plus 1 net.
Yep.
I'm going to throw in a grenade to get rid of that plus 1. You're allowed to use grenades in direct fire if you're adjacent. So
Yep.
I'm going to expend one of my very few grenades in there, and we're going to see what happens. Go away! I hate when OBS does that. Okay, so now I'm at 17 plus 0. Where's the chart? Alright, oh, I'm still on the stupid grade table? Alright. Somalis. Well, any militia, they have the same attacks as like Viet Cong, so it's pretty much untrained militia.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty much standard.
Old
PLO,
standard guys with
yeah,
AK.
PLO were the same thing. NVA was a little bit better. Here we go. Low number. A 9. That's still terrible. 9 is no effect. All that, and I did nothing.
Oh. What happened was the guy fired the RPG, then the backblast just stunned everybody.
Stunned everybody else, yeah. Alright, my plans are not working out. My plans within plans. These guys should be so dead right now. Because they should be at least some of them pinned down, because guess who's going to assault them? Or these, 1, 2, 3, boom, we're there. But doesn't look like it's going to happen. Okay, no worries. Okay, we're going to start the Somali movement phase now. So here comes Somali movement phase. Before we do Somali movement phase, we're going to roll for some civilians. Civilian number 1. Odds they move, evens they don't. Evens they don't. This civilian hex. Odds they do. They move 2 hexes in a random direction. 1, they hear the gun firing and they're heading north. Oh, run away. Okay, these guys are not moving. Okay, and now I'll start my movement phase. Alright, where are my technicals? We're gonna have a battle in the middle of the street. So my truck, here are my technicals for those who might not have seen earlier. They're basically just a drunky pickup truck with a douche on the back. So that's a 12.7 millimeter machine gun, basically a 50 cal, Russian 50 cal, weighs 106 pounds. It's practically a light artillery piece. It does have an A class, whatchamacallit factor. It will wreck a Humvee if it hits it. So we're going to see what happens there. Okay.
You can see great footage. You can see great footage of guys firing technicals, and the truck flips because the douche just has so much recoil on it that it'll actually flip a truck clean over.
I've seen some douche, and the one I saw flip over was a ZU-23. It was a twin-barrel 23mm cannon. So that's like 4 times the size of a douche, and there's 2 of them. So 8 times the recoil on a truck. They turn the gun sideways, and then they fire, and surprise, surprise, that little Toyota, flips over like a turtle. Yeah,
The
didn't
Sudan's
really...
great for that. If you want to see technicals, the Sudan's awesome for technical stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to start my movement phase. I'm not sure if you want to take opportunity fire, but one,
Yep, I'll take it
two,
in O10.
okay, cool.
Or N9 doesn't matter.
All right, so that will be, well, if you wait till N9, you can use grenades if you want.
I actually no, I'll keep you far away. So O10.
I did, hold on, back up. When I rolled this 9, and I barely missed you on the 11 table, there's something for point blank fire. That's point blank opportunity fire. Never mind. Sorry. So if you wait until I'm an N9 or N10, you get a bunch of bonuses.
Okay, well wait then.
For point blank opportunity fire. While I'm in the open, which I would be. Okay, so your opportunity fire.
Yep, I'll go into N9.
Okay, you got a total of 14 points in there. Subtract 1 from the die roll. Subtract 2 more from the die roll for point blank opportunity fire. You're on the 14 row, and you are.
That needs 3 or something.
-3. Yep, you're on the gray column or gray row here, and subtracting 3.
9.
9 minus 3 becomes 6. That's 3 casualty points. Nobody is shooting very well here today.
Everyone's just sort of full auto only for some reason.
Mm-hmm. So this guy's going to be killed, and this guy's going to be pinned down. So no RPG attack this turn. Oh no!
I'm not super familiar with US weapons. These guys would have had M16A1s or just normal M16?
Well, yeah, definitely M16A2s. So there's
A2s,
M16s. Okay. Yeah, M16A2s is what I was trained on. That's what you see the Rangers carrying, and Blackhawk down. They're carrying M16A2s. Okay. Now the Delta guys are carrying all their fancy Delta stuff. M778s, M4s, God knows what. And then the snipers carry M14s or whatever, with or upgraded M14s with the sniper scopes. But yeah, these guys are carrying just straight out M16A2s. That's why their firepower is actually a little low, because M16A2 is only a semi-automatic weapon.
Yeah, no full auto function.
Yeah, exactly. So it went down a little bit because of that to the 10s that we normally see, and it went back up to a 12 in the design phase, because again, every single fire team has that M203 in there. So there's a little bit of explosions in every one of these fire phases.
I was going to say, when a 6 is going down, you're pretty tooled up.
Yeah, the radio chatter, Gaz, is part of the. We're trying to put some sound in here to make the stream a little more engaging. Hopefully, if it's too loud, let me know, and I'll turn it down a little bit. Rangers lead the way. Yes, they do. Any ETA for a fixed version of the podcast? Uh-oh. What happened to the podcast? Rangers break the game. They are too cool. They almost did. In fact, I had to add. Again, this was in the. We were talking about this a little earlier. I had to add these 3-1A and 3-2A. I had to add their grenade tables, or their grenade data, M203 grenades, into the game. Normally that's a separate weapon, but every single half team would carry an M203. That would literally break the game. Every stack would be 15 counters. Between every fire team has a saw, every fire team has an M203, 2 fire teams in a squad. Now that's 6 counters. You can put up to 4 infantry units. You're literally up to 16 counters, 4 times 4. That literally would break the game. Oh yeah, Sitrep, I was wondering about that on the podcast. That's okay. I got like 4 miles, like halfway through it, and then I was then could I hear Ralph. Okay. So that's, I think, going to be it for my movement. These people cannot move because they fired. You took your opportunity fire here. it's now time for your defensive fire. You can fire with anybody that did not already take opportunity fire.
Helps if I unmute myself.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and for everybody, my sniper can only fire at can only fire opportunity fire.
Can only take opportunity fire, yeah.
So I can't just pop dudes with it because it is brutal. But,
yeah, pretty much. Now, well, it is and it isn't. Like right now, nobody within 6 hexes of that sniper can safely move. So one sniper round went off, pinned down those guys, but really everybody's pinned down because I'm afraid to move anybody except for those vehicles. Those vehicles are considered technically armored. Technically, the sniper can shoot if he wants to at the technicals. It would have to roll really, really well, but technically it could happen.
I don't think we'll do that. That's
all right.
Yeah.
Like if you rolled a 6 or a 5 or a 6, that's number of casualty points. If a -1 hindrance because of the wall, yeah. If you rolled a 6, it would be 6 minus 1 is 5. That 5 would be over their casualty rating, which is 4. I know those counters are inverted right now, but that 4 in the lower right-hand corner there, or lower left-hand corner, is their casualty rating. Once you get over that, that truck is automatically destroyed. So you could technically, the sniper could technically destroy an unarmored vehicle. Everything here is unarmored. This is until we invent 50 caliber sniper rifles in this game. We start bringing those Beretts and Macmillans. Like any other 50 caliber weapon, they're going to have that A-class armor anti-tank value. And they're literally anti-materiel rifles, but until we get that far. Yeah, these M14s, they have to roll a 6, but he could technically brain out the driver. And they did drive right in front of you. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll give it a go. 2.
Okay, well, you would only roll 1 dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 dice. 2.
Okay, cool. All right, and now all these guys can take defensive fire. Okay. So I'm pretty sure they can see a whole kinds of things. They have to shoot through roadblocks and walls, but that's only a -1 hindrance.
So I'll start with, is it Jacobson?
Jacobson. Lieutenant Jacobson, platoon leader right up front. He's literally like at the head of his column. Which I guess is cool.
He's going to get one of these guys to put a 203 straight in that technical.
Okay. That is... Alright, a light anti-tank weapon. So he gets 1 shot because it's a half squad. That's the one. 3 is the range. 1, 2, you're within range. You are shooting through black tire smoke. So... Anti-tank to hit numbers. Anti-tank weapons, guns... Okay, so it's 8 or less on 2d6. +1 for the smoke. -2 for your commander. Becomes a 9 or less on 2d6.
Okay. 9.
Missed. Oh, no, 9 is exactly right. Sorry. Did I do it right? Hold on. Booby traps, casualties. I don't have those rules. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Cool. Helicopters. Unarmored vehicles. 6 or less. Onboard mortars or guns at 20 hexes more. Okay, cool. Alright. Come on, example. Alright, so that's barely a hit. It was 8 minus 2 plus 1. Means that your roll to hit was actually a 9 or less. You rolled exactly on a 9. It's technically an A-class weapon against an unarmored vehicle, so that vehicle was destroyed. Do I have any destroyed? Here we go. Oh no! Boom! There's a wrecked truck in that hex. Good shooting, Tex. All right. Any other defensive fire?
The stack in H9.
Okay.
They're going to have a go at G7.
G7. Okay, now we have 2 basic fire points going on here. Vehicles are not allowed to combine their stack of fire with pedestrian units or infantry units. So, because that Hummer has a friggin' 50 cal on there. So for now we have a total of 8. The medic can't fire yet, so it's 8 minus 1 for the leader plus 2 for the building. 8 plus 1 is what we're aiming at there. So white row, and you have to add 1 to that die roll.
10.
No
So,
good.
nothing.
I can't see him because the sniper pinned him down already. He's hiding on the floor. Okay, does the 50 cal on that Humvee want to take the same thing?
Yep.
Okay. It is 6, and it's just going to be 6. He's just trying to spray that building. He has to add 2 for the building. So, yeah, he has to roll literally a 5 or less.
3.
3 becomes a 5. That was on 2d6, right?
Yep, 1 and a 2.
No! That was a good roll. That's 3 casualty points. He's already pinned, so I have to kill that squad off. Trying to make more room here for my little casualty. Alright, so you're up to 5 points. You're now winning technically 5 to 4. Cool.
Yay.
Alright. That's it for the 50 cal. Alright. You've got another section behind that and another Humvee.
The other Humvee will fire at G7.
Okay. Same roll.
Yep. 7. So that's
Becomes
probably
a
gonna miss.
9. That's nothing.
Yep. I-10 is going to have a go at I-6.
Okay, he has to subtract 1 for the hindrance, and then he has to subtract 2 for the building. Subtracting 3. I should say adding 3. 1 for the wall, and then 1 for the building that he's actually in. But he has to subtract 1 for his leader. So we're talking about a grand total of adding 2 to the roll.
Adding 2, yep.
However, there's a lot of firepower.
18, 23.
Yeah, 18, 23, 25. No, 18, 20, 23. Sorry, so 23, add a net of 2, we said? Right.
Yep. Oh, 10. So that's not going to do anything.
You're in the blue, 10, add 2. No, that's one of those fighter bomber strikes. But it still managed to miss. Again, modern weapons, man. There's 3 light machine guns in there, 3 M203 grenade launchers, which are basically like old 50mm World War II mortars, plus an M60, plus a commander. There's a lot of firepower flying up out of that hex. Welcome to the 1990s. This isn't your granddaddy's World War II anymore, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 BARs in a squad. Like.
Yeah, maybe. Here we've got many. Everybody's carrying a BAR. That's like, an assault rifle. Okay, more or less. So that's it for defensive fire, I believe. We're now going to go to
Yep.
the get OBS out of my way phase. It's really annoying, guys. Alright, so now I'm left with my advance and assault phase. So I have many people here on advance and assault.
This is scaring me.
He cannot advance an assault because he's pinned down. I have a total of 12 in this stack. Make that 16, make that 17. Subtract 1. I'm throwing in all my grenades. I can throw in 1 grenade. I only have so many grenades. I'm using them all up now. And you're allowed to throw in 1 grenade per infantry unit in the hex. So technically I could throw in 4 if I had 4, but I don't. I only have 3 left. So I'm throwing in all 3 of my grenades. It's going to subtract another 3 from my roll. Total subtract 4 from my roll, 17. Versus your 14. So it's 1 to 1. You always round in favor of the defender. Subtract 1 for your leader. So it's 1 to 1. Net subtract 3.
And I'm going to throw in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in 3 grenades. Yeah.
Make or break time, guys. Here it comes. Oh no.
This is where Jim's going to roll high.
Probably because 1 to 1.
I don't want to get.
I have to now roll 6 or less, which is not good. That is not a good chance. Oh man, webcam. If I make this roll, that is 1, 2, 3 captured casualty points. That is, not to get grim about it, that is where you start dragging people through the streets, like we saw in real life.
Yeah, which happened, yeah.
Yeah, that actually did go down. However, I have to roll a 6 or less. I threw in all my grenades. I'm putting in one of my commanders. This is actually both of my RPGs. So this is not going to be good. However, if I fail this assault, he still has to take casualty points. So I'm literally just trying to grind him down. So there's going to be a little bit of silver lining. But then again, I'm going to roll off Snake Eyes. Here it comes. Come on, do it. A 5. He fucking made it. Oh no! Start playing the Blackhawk down ending theme. That's not good. 1, 2, 3 destroyed units, and those are 1, 2, 3 casualties that are now mine. Because I occupy that hex, and there's nobody else that can get to them.
Yep.
So there is Michael Durant. He's going to wake up in a chair in a basement somewhere. Okay.
Yeah,
now,
you guys might not know this, but Somalia is not real big on the Geneva Convention.
Yeah. Yeah. That was all my grenades. That was most of your grenades. Now, the bad news for me is there were 3 infantry units in that hex. Lieutenant Erickson counts as an infantry unit, and a building, which counts as 2. So that's a total of 5 casualty points that cost me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he is pinned. Then again, it was a private stream, but if anyone later on in the week, when people see how much ass whipping I took in Darkstar yesterday, I got the crap kicked out of me in Darkstar yesterday. No mistake.
Anything blow up?
Nope. I actually did walk away with all my shit, but 514 point game. It was a really big game, and I lost by like 280 something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got the hell shot out of me. I lost my 163 point elite light cruiser on the first fire phase. Turn 1,
that's never good.
163 points right out the window. Okay, so yeah, that was a bloody turn, and that is going to be almost it for my turn. I'm now going to try and rally my RPG team out in the street. He has no commander with him. He's not elite. He has to roll a 6 or less on 2d6. He rolled a 5. He rallied. He saw that ranger team go down. He was like, "Oh yeah!" Now this guy has to make the
celebratory AK fire.
Yeah, pretty much shooting into the air. He gets to add 1 to his roll, or actually add 1 to his target number because of his -1 bonus. Again, this is why sometimes you want to not pin your commanders. It's always sort of tempting to pin your commander with a little 1-point attack. Oh, who cares? What's he going to do? Versus my 4-point attack with a 4-point RPG. But again, that commander is what's going to rally. Valor Victory really, emphasizes the importance of commanders. So, he has to roll basically a 7 or less to rally that RPG team. He rolls a 6, so he will rally.
Nice.
The Somalis are going to take it. I feel it. We're going to win this time. Some would say they won the battle historically, but that's probably a matter of opinion. I mean, as bad as it
29
was.
dead, 1 casualty.
Well,
Just thinking
yeah,
VP wise.
19 dead plus whatever, 70 something wounded, versus almost 1,000 dead and God knows how many wounded. However, it did force the Americans to pull out of Somalia eventually. So it depends. You know, that's one of the things about modern war. Victory is not always clear cut. And not to get all moralistic here, but that actually goes into wargaming, where victory conditions in a modern war game should be pretty nebulous. You really have to kind of, be careful about it. Not like, line them up, and last man standing wins. A lot of times, a lot more complicated than that. Okay, so that is going to be it for the Somali turn. We now begin American turn 2. American turn 2 begins with command phase. You have no one to rally. You have no casualties. Yeah, I was going to say, sadly for you, you have no one to rally. Sadly for you, you have no casualties to exfil. It's now up to you as far as any divisions or combinations.
I'm going to combine 2 of the half squads in that massive stack there.
These guys here?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take 2 half squads off. Put 1 full squad on. Done?
Yep, that's all the divisions.
Okay. So then we go to your direct fire phase.
Yep. I want to take out as much as possible. The rear Humvee.
Okay.
Will fire at. Is it Majud? There.
Yep. So again, 6 plus 2.
4.
4 becomes 6. Or did you roll snake eyes?
No, sorry, yeah, 1 to 3, so 4.
Okay, so it becomes 6 on 6. That is 2 casualty points.
Cool.
Yeah, you rolled a natural 4. That becomes a 6. You have 6 total points. Yeah, he got brained out.
Nice.
That was the Somali commander. Novus Templar, welcome to the stream, sir. How are you doing? How hard would it be to port the Expanse over to Darkstar? Would not be hard at all. The problem is Darkstar ships would stomp the crap out of Expanse ships. We are doing that same thing with Star Trek right now, and we're finding the opposite problem. Star Trek ships are, depending on the era, 4 Years War, Darkstar ships will win. TOS era, Darkstar ships will win. The motion picture era, like the refit Constitution classes, the Reliant class, it's kind of even. And of course, by the time you get to TNG era, it's now granted, like a Galaxy class ship is 342 points or something. It's like 2 battleships in Darkstar. But yeah, the tech just gets completely crazy. So from what I've seen of the Expanse, it wouldn't be hard to do at all. But I just have the feeling that those ships would be terribly underpowered.
I just love Jen's comment. No. He spent a month doing Star Trek.
Yeah, we haven't had a single game with we haven't done a single game with Star Trek yet. I've got some play tests in the works. I just haven't had time to run it yet. Okay, so on to your next piece of fire phase.
Yep. So the next Humvee is going to fire at I6.
Okay. Now that Humvee is going to go ahead and same roll. 6 add 2.
Cool. Another 4, 2 2s.
That is 2 more casualty points. They are toast. These
actually perfect.
These 50 cals are doing some work.
Nice. Well, that does.
I'm just trying to keep track of points there. Okay, cool.
It does mess me up though, because I was just gonna hang back and take those guys out, but now that's all clear. So do I go forward or do I do what I wanted to do?
Well, technically, the objective is to, again, hex AV. Or, hex A2.
Yep.
Trying to get to that Blackhawk.
I'm going to have to go forward. So for the rest of my actual fire, I don't think I have anything else.
There is another technical right in front of you.
Yeah, do I fire the technical? Do I go,
Now, the burning technical will be a -1 hindrance, and the roadblock will be a hindrance, but technically speaking, you've got 2 grenade launchers that can, plus, I mean, a machine gun can take out a technical if you get lucky.
So straight, yeah, you know what, I'll have a go with Jacobson.
Okay, so Jacobson with his whole stack?
Yep. Just do what you did last time.
Yeah, I was going to say, now we got this guy here, this team here. Does he want to use his grenade launcher, or does he want to use small arms with his M240?
I'll go with the grenade launcher.
Okay, so it's an 8, which I'll have to look that. Oh, is he 1, 2, 3? Yeah, he is in range. I'll have to look this up. I don't know if it's 6 or 8, so we'll just keep it at 8 because that's what we're doing for right now. For accuracy on that. +2, -2. So you basically just need an 8 less.
A 9, so it missed.
Barely missed. It exploded off of these buildings somewhere. Okay, you've got other squads that they don't have to move. Anything that doesn't fire, I should say, they don't have to fire. Anything that doesn't fire gets to move.
Yep, can move. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's all the firing I'm going to do there.
Okay. So then we begin with movement phase. And movement phase begins with civilians. So first, this group down here, odds moves, even doesn't. Stop bouncing under the table. 6 does not move. Second group of civilians.
That's good. I really don't want those guys moving.
4 does not move. This group of civilians. 4. Yeah, all the civilians are staying put. There's too much gunfire.
I'm not sure if we streamed it or not, but we answered a Vietnam game where I had basically 2 platoons held up because Jim had a half squad sitting with a bunch of civilians in a little hooch in Vietnam.
Yeah. It happened to me once.
Wouldn't move.
Me and Alex were doing a playtest, my Marines versus NVA, and he was in a hooch with a douche, and there was like one of these little blue units of civilians in there, and they just wouldn't move. And I'm just taking casualties and losing time. It was one of those time games, taking casualties, losing time, taking casualties, losing time. I'm like, God, we can't shoot into that hex because there's civilians in there. And then the civilians finally moved on one of these dice rolls. F4 Phantom. That douche crew was a friggin' grease spot. But by then he'd done so much damage that. Alrighty.
Yeah,
so the civilians all stood still. They're all rooted. There's way too much lead flying around. They're all staying put. Alright, so well, now we go to your movement phase.
Okay, H9 to G7.
Word to the wise, I would not forget about this medic back here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got a plan for that medic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm sorry, you were saying H9?
Yep, so those guys are going to go G9, G8, G7.
1, 2, 3, 4, because now you're in a building. You're good, however, because you have a leader with you, so yeah, you can do that. Are they staying in that building?
Yeah, I'll stay there.
Yeah, because there's a
I think
douche
I'll let my
across the street.
back in separate.
Alright.
Yeah. Humvees can't move. Yep. So the guys in I-10
Yep.
are going to go J10, K10, and then I-10.
Oh no. Whoa, J10, K10. You mean L10 after that?
Oh, L10, sorry, yeah.
Okay. I was like, they go right back. They see all these Somalis. Oh, we're going back.
sorry, yeah, L10. So that's 2, 4, 6. And then the medic will run up and join them.
Okay.
Let's do exactly the same thing I did last time. That'll end better.
Well, I have no grenades now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot less Somalis in that factory or whatever that is. The little apartment building. That's a friggin' bloodbath right in there, man. That's a nasty little hex. Okay. And then these guys technically did fire. Okay, so
Yeah.
Well, technically Jacobson could move to Joel's point, but he doesn't have to.
No, I think
Jacobson
he'll
did not
stay there.
move. Okay. What is this guy doing? Oh, he was a split up.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So that's it for fire. We now go to Somali opportunity fire, which I'm going to go ahead and take. Okay. I've got 2 pieces of it. Number 1, Douche up there in Hotel 5 is going to fire into that building just occupied by Rangers. That is going to be a 6. You're not in the open, so I don't get -1 for that, and you're not adjacent. And looks like I am shooting between 2 hindrances. That's a wall hex in G6, and that's a burning technical hex in H6. So it's going to basically a 6 + 4. Oh god. I don't even know if I should even do this. Because technically I might summon another sniper if I... Oh no, I can't because you've already got 1 sniper.
I was going to say you can't get 2 snipers. You can get 2 snipers?
Yeah, never mind. Cool.
Those snipers are game changing, by the way, in our Falklands game, basically.
Oh god,
I
don't
ruined the
remind
game
me.
by getting it.
Don't remind me. He appeared right behind my mortar team and blew up my... The only thing I had to put light on, there was a night battle, guys. And the only
Jim had
way...
it so well planned. So well planned.
Oh no.
I had these off-board mortars. He had these mortar teams. It was going to be this awesome cat and mouse game. So I blew his mortar team to hell in like turn 1, and then just ruined the whole Falklands thing.
Super quick. It was a night game, and we were using illumination flares, almost like reverse smoke shells. So in a normal game, everybody can see, gets to stay light, and your mortars can drop smoke that obscure a certain hex. Here, it's night. The entire battlefield is obscured, and you drop illumination flares via mortars to illuminate a certain hex. So once I lost that mortar team, thanks to a bad, sniper check or whatever, Dylan controlled the light on the battlefield, and in a night game, that was everything. I had to use his flares to illuminate. I couldn't see what he didn't want me to see. And yeah, that game went south in a hurry. To put it mildly.
Snipers are very powerful.
But you know what? In the edit, it made one of my favorite Sitrep videos. That is a fun video to watch, guys. Check that out on YouTube. That is a fun. You hear me crying into my dice tray. It's a fun thing. Okay. Meanwhile, we have Abu Zakra here, who has his little RPG buddies. Okay, so he has a total of 9 points. Subtract 2 for point blank opportunity fire, add 2 for buildings, so it comes out to a wash. -1 for my commander, so it's -1. And I have 9 points, so 9 points at -1.
Cool.
And I roll an 8, which is terrible, which becomes a 7. At 9. Does that do anything for me? 1 casualty point. Somebody got pinned.
Ooh. I'm going to need as much firepower as possible.
Technically, you could always pin the medic.
Yes, I'm going to pin the medic.
The medic had better rally. Because if he doesn't, these guys are going to, whoa, because if I assume there's an assault coming. If the assault is successful, you're going to wind up in that hex. That medic's going to be pinned down and by himself. So he's rolling the dice here, folks. His medic is being, come on OBS. His medic is left behind in that embattled Somali apartment building. This is some serious urban combat here. This is going pretty well so far, I think. All right, so that's it for my Somali opportunity fire. Defensive fire, I can shoot at people that didn't move, but I don't get opportunity fire bonuses. Okay, Mr. Douche, he's going to fire his Douche 8 or less, and he's going to try and hit this first Humvee.
Ooh.
8 or less, however, he has to shoot through a burning technical and a roadblock, so that's 2 things. So he's going to be, he has to roll a 6 or less on 2d6. 8 minus 2. Tell you what, man, those grenade launchers are deadly with a -2 commander in there.
Oh yeah, that's really not. Really, really
Oh, a 5!
Oh,
We have a burning Humvee.
nice.
Okay, and now roll a d6. You're trying to get a 4, 5, or a 6.
1.
Okay, that is a casualty.
Yep.
Basically, it does the driver and gunner hit. Basically, we're rolling for the crew. Where the hell is
I think it's up on the right.
Yeah. So, yeah, people did get hit on that one. Sadly, in real life, the very first casualty of our very first KIA, there was a wounded guy fell out of the helicopter. PFC Blackburn actually fell out. He was the first guy hurt in the operation, but the first actual KIA was a Humvee gunner. He was up operating that 50 cal in that little mini cupola there, and he took him around and he, instantly. So we got to get him off the table. All right, I think that's it for my defensive fire, because nobody else has line of sight on anything. Took opportunity fire already. You killed one of the guys.
Yep.
Cool. All right, now we go to your assault and move phase, I believe. Or advance and assault phase, I should say.
Okay, so Jacobson and his stack are going to move back 1 into Hotel 9.
Okay.
Try and deal with this casualty.
There you go. Casualty management is a huge part of this game. At least again, not part of normal Valor Victory, but we're trying to give it a modern warfare sort of a feel. Okay, so they fall back to secure that casualty. Okay,
yep.
Anybody else, or are we going to go straight to Aaron's assault?
Another stack up there. See, F6 is in the street, so I don't want to really move to F6.
Yeah, F6 is considered an open hex for people in the chat because that dot is not covered by building.
Yep.
Now, that douche would have to shoot across walls to so you get -1, but I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
No, I would not. Yeah. No, especially since you can just drive up and no, that'll be it except for the assault.
Alrighty. I have no grenades left, so I await your displeasure. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 3 is 11, plus another 12. Oh my god, 23. 23 versus my 9, that gives you an easy 2-to-1. Actually almost a 3-to-1, but easy 2-to-1. Subtract 1 for my leader, subtract 1 for your leader, that comes out in a wash. I think you have 1 grenade left. You have 2 grenades left if you want to use them.
I'll use 1 grenade.
Alright, he commits 1 grenade to that assault. So now it is 2-to-1, and you're subtracting, after all bonuses, 1 from the die roll. Your number to kill me is now a 9 or less. So it's the 8 under 2-to-1 plus 1 for his grenade. So it becomes a 9 or less on 2d6.
Oh, hey, Resmus.
Christmas! What's going on, sir?
And an 8.
Oh, that was close. That was close.
Although I'm going to pay for this, so that's...
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 total casualty points.
Yeah, that's... Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take a casualty and then pin the LT. Just because I need 12 firepower in that.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
We're going to see if those Rangers can whatchamacallit, on their own. Is this the first successful assault you've had? Or have you assaulted me twice now?
I think I've assaulted you twice now.
You've assaulted me twice. Because one thing I kind of screwed up on the victory conditions, there are no prisoners of war. Because right now I'm running away with this game on points. And I'm trying to figure out if that's correct. And I think that's the reason why
Okay.
that's something's going wrong there. So there's now a casualty in that stack. That's the half squad that you had to knock down. Oh no! Alright, RPG doesn't count for anything, so I'm just going to take that off. What's going on, Rasmus? Glad you can join us. The Americans got absolutely curb-stomped yesterday. Jen and Rasmus. I'm sorry, Jen and Damon. Shot the shit out of me. Big time. Alright. That is going to be it for, that's going to be it for the assault. Alright, now we go to your after-action phase. First, Jacobson gives orders to this half squad to try to evacuate that casualty. So, starts off at 6, goes to 7 because he's elite, -2 for commander, is 9 or less on 2d6.
5.
No worries, that casualty is safe on his way back to the, that soccer stadium. Okay, now, there are a few things going on here. We have...
Now, what were we doing with loose weapons? Were we just chucking them away, or were we reassigning them?
Technically...
Because that technically belongs to the half squad.
Yeah, technically in Valor and Victory, that unit's destroyed. But we have been playing fast and loose with that. In Advanced Squad Leader, the game that Valor and Victory is clearly, a love letter to, that weapon is left, and just the next guy picks it up. In fact, they have major battles over, like, M42s, or MG42s in Stalingrad and stuff like that. The Russians take them, the Germans take them back. You have, like, these King Leonidas battles over, this lost MG42 or something. I've seen it happen. So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that one in there for now. Your problem is that you have only one infantry squad in there. So is he... Yeah. He's going to try and exfil that casualty? Or try to evacuate that casualty?
Yeah, he's going to have to try and exfil the casualty.
Okay, he has to roll a 7 or less. Yeah, because he's elite.
Yep. 9, so no.
He did not get him off the table. Mr. Gaz, take it easy, man. Thanks very much for coming out. Thanks for your support. And, yeah, I'll talk to you later on this week. I appreciate it. Yeah, for him, it's like 9 p.m. at night now. He probably has to go to work tomorrow. Okay, now, Mr. Elite, I'm sorry. Mr. Elite Lieutenant has to roll a 7 or less to rally himself. He does not get to apply his -1 to himself because he is pinned. So he just has his normal elite rating, which is 7 or less on 2d6.
7.
Barely. He is back. Now that was his after action, so to speak, or his end of the turn action, so he cannot try to... That casualty can only be evacuated once a turn. This medic, 7 or less.
3.
He made it.
That was lucky.
Okay, and that's going to be it for American turn 2. Somali turn 2. We begin with the mob roll. A 6 means two more squads up here. They have to be at least 4 or 5 hexes away from the closest American. I'll put them back there. We're not going to give you that helicopter for free. Okay. That's it for that. Now we go to, I'm not going to worry about combining anything or anything like that. It's time to go to, now see, here is my direct fire. There's like 3 things I can do here. I can put like fire from these guys into that hex and try and pin somebody down before the assault comes in from the other stack. Option 1. Option 2, I can assault twice. Both assaults will be terrible, but you have to pay for assaulted, for, basically that's going to cost you 2 casualty points no matter what. That's going to cost you 3 casualty points. Even if you successfully repel the assault. Which means you have to kill half a squad. Because if this guy assaults you, by the rules of the game, and you destroy that assault, you still have to suffer 2 casualty points for destroying 2 infantry units. There's only 2 infantry units in that hex. They get pinned, and I have more prisoners.
Yeah, because then the other guy comes in.
Or I can try and combine all this into one big attack, but that means that this guy has to move up here. That opens him up to opportunity fire. Oh boy.
See, I want you to do the move opportunity fire, so I get like a, was it +3?
Yep. Plus -1 for commander, -2 for opportunity fire point blank. Oh god. I'm gonna be cagey about it. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Assault. Oh, but so basically, keep the turn sequence together. Nobody's moving down here. Nobody's firing. So nobody's firing down there. Well, technically, they're already adjacent. They can fire and assault. All right. So 4 + 2 for being for your building. That was let's see, 5 + 3 is 8. That becomes 10. No effect. And then on here we have another 8. Oh god. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 + 2 for your building. Becomes, what is that? 6. 6 on the 8. That may have actually pinned somebody down. 2 casualties.
Okay. That's going to be a dead half squad. So,
oh no! Yeah, sometimes, guys, you do have to overpay. That does happen in Valor and Victory when the enemy starts to mob up on you, which the Somalis are very good at doing. That's not what I meant to do. Bring to front. Okay, that's it for my fire phase down there. And because I'm already that close, you're not allowed to fire and move in the same turn, but you're allowed to fire and then without moving, you can assault any adjacent unit. So, pro tip for Americans or any First World forces against militias: don't let them get very close like this. It gets really hairy. Okay, that douche is going to try and take a shot at that building up there. Although he has to subtract 3 from his roll. Never mind. He's going to try and hit that second Humvee. Nope, he has to shoot through 3. He has to subtract 3 there as well. All right, I'm going to try and take a shot at Jacobson's team. I have to 6 add 2 to my die roll. That was 6 + 2 is 8, plus another 2 is 10. That was no effect.
Cool.
That will be it for my fire phase. Beginning of movement phase. Civilians 1. No. Civilians 2. Yes. They move 2 hexes in a random D6 direction. 3. For some reason they're running out. Maybe they're going to try and join the militia here. And then civilians over here. Who knows what those civilians are thinking. Okay. Now I'm going to start my movement. I don't think anyone's going to move. Unless my new guys. That's it for my movement. Come on, OBS.
So they're going to get... Although if they move, they're going to get blamed by that sniper.
Oh! I already took my hand off the piece. Go for it. D6.
No, put it back. No, put it back. I don't want to...
No, because I want to cover that street for when your guys make the run for the helicopter. It's a D6 + 2, and I'm actually ready to take casualties. I'm a Somali militia, man. I'm not worried about it.
6.
So, it's too late for me to move my piece back. That is one full squad destroyed. That is one full squad destroyed. So he rolled a 6 - 2 for my building makes 4. That's 4 immediate casualty points sustained. That is one whole squad blown away. 8 Somali. That's like those snipers that won the Medal of Honor for defending that crash site. I don't even know how many people they wound up taking out fighting that battle.
Those are the ones in the helicopter, also.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, they just. Oh, it was a different helicopter. Yeah, but they volunteered 3 times to go to that other crash site. They wound up both, not making it, unfortunately, but they did win the first Medals of Honor awarded in the U.S. military since the Vietnam War. And again, just 2 snipers, and God knows, I don't even know how long they held that position or how many Somali militiamen they wound up killing, trying to defend that crash site. Okay, so that's it for my movement. I'm ready to go to assault once OBS decides to stop playing games with me. Okay, here comes assault. I have a total of 8 points versus your 6, 3 is 9, and 2 is 10. 11. So it's 1 to 2. I have to roll a 5 or less because I have no commander. Make that a 4 or less, you have a commander in there. Do you want to throw in your last grenade?
Yeah.
I already have to roll a 4 or less. I mean, my odds are not great.
Yeah, do it anyway because I've seen you do this before.
Okay, so now it's a 3 or less.
Yep.
And here I go. And that was a 7. That is these 2 guys destroyed. Splat and splat. However, that is also 2 casualty points to you to absorb that attack.
Yeah. So my only choice is to kill the half squad.
Yep. That's another casualty. That's 3 points. Yeah.
And just hope that Jim somehow rolls under a 9. More than a 9 or a 10 on the next roll. Because it's going to be 5 to 1.
Here is that's 2. You have a 2. So it's 2 to 8 is 4 to 1. -1 for your commander. This is where you throw in that grenade. This is why you saved that grenade.
Okay.
So you're gonna throw in that grenade, that last grenade?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I'll throw in that last grenade.
So 1, 2 versus my 8 makes 1 to 4, subtract or 4 to 1. I'm at 10. Subtract 1 for your commander. Subtract 1 for your grenade. I have to roll an 8 or less. All right. I'm actually kind of hoping I fail this roll in a weird kind of way. Come on, Lieutenant Aaron. Here it comes. Silver star time, buddy. A 4.
No.
So that is that for him, and that is me owning 4 more
No.
good guy casualties.
No, it's not.
Oh, no? Uh-oh.
1 for the... sorry, 2 for the hex and 1 for the...
Oh!
The man in hex would kill the...
That is true. That is 2 points. Yeah, that is true. That is true. You are correct. Thank you. That kills him. I think I accidentally copied him. Don't do that. Oh my god, there's just a whole bunch of... There's one medic there.
There's like 30 people there.
That medic's
Yeah,
got
let's
a
hope
lot
that.
of
Was
work
it
to
full
do.
perk?
Okay,
There's
so...
literally like a platoon just lying there wounded.
There was already 2, and now I just want to make sure I got the right amount, right? That's supposed to be 4 total in there now?
Yes, 4 total.
1, 2, 3, 4, yes. You have to really pay attention to your, making change, so to speak, when you're playing this. Because if you lose track of it, you're like, oh god, you're totally screwed. Alright, now there's 2 other dead guys. I went ahead and moved them off to the side already, right? My dead guy, my RPG guy?
Yeah.
He's in this pile? I don't remember putting him there. Okay. Holy crap.
Yeah, because you copied him over and then deleted him.
You get med there, like... one medic. How many field dressings do you have in your pack, dude? Seriously. Okay. And that's it for my assault phase. I have no one to rally or anything like that. Over to you for turn 3.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm having an Excel moment. Yeah, Rasmus, that was bloody.
Mm.
In a way, I'm sorry to say that Dylan is paying something of the butcher's bill for yesterday's Dark Star game. I'm not in a merciful mood today. you, you can thank Dylan and Jen and the British for this. Okay.
We do tend to stomp one another, though. It's our games rarely tend to be. Oh, we have some close games, but most of the time it's one of us getting stomped.
Yeah, that's actually true. That Argentinian game just was completely a rout.
Now, I'm gonna have to secure casualties because America. That's you can't just leave guys.
Also, double victory points. I mean, the game.
The game incentivizes you.
The game forces you, or not forces you, but yeah, it's not just role playing. It's if I roll squads on my Somali mob phase, and I get I put them in 09 or who knows where, and they get to those 4 active casualties, that's going to be it.
Yeah, that can't happen. So I'm gonna have to start with shooting.
Yep.
I'm gonna do it with the Humvee first. I'm gonna do some tank v tank, in air quotes, massive air quotes.
Okay. Problem is for him, he has to subtract 3 from his roll, shooting through 2 burning wrecks and a roadblock.
Yep. A 3.
3 becomes a 6. Oh, wait. Where am I going? You're rolling 2d6?
Yep.
Alright, you're rolling an anti-tank gun against my anti-tank gun.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a different thing. But, a 3 becomes a 6, is a hit, and once you hit an unarmored vehicle with a technically armor-piercing weapon, A-class, it's the weakest type of armor-piercing weapon there is, but it's still an armor-piercing weapon. Boom! That is a blew up, by the way, that does count as 2 more for victory points. The crews of those douches. So, just for score purposes. Alright. I want to be cheesy. And that's the end of that's the end of my Somali mechanized corps, damn you.
Mechanized corps. I had a game of force on force where I think it was like 6 Taliban rocked up on motorcycles with a jingle bus. That was one of them. Motorized.
I found the greatest picture on Google Images a couple of weeks ago. It was a guy with a douche balanced somehow on a shopping cart. And that was like, sometimes people are really desperate for a technical. And he was firing it, God bless him. I don't know if he was hitting anything, but talk about a vehicle that wants to flip over.
Alright, I'm going to have to get to this crash site.
Yeah, the thing about this game is that you have to get there sooner rather than later, because every Somali turn I'm going to keep going on this stupid table.
Yeah.
Which will probably have to get redesigned for 2 reasons. Number 1, there's no chance for me to roll nothing, so no matter what, there's going to be more Somalis. And number 2, there's no new leaders, there's no RPGs, I'm going to have to get a little bit more detailed on that table, but that's okay.
I can take a photo and send you the one from Day of the Rangers, if you like, a couple of ones from Day of the Rangers, just to.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it might help
just for a bit of idea.
As a bit of reference. Oh shit! I have another leader up there. I forgot about. He's up there watching soccer on his TV. There's a battle going on. Disorganized militia. Okay, so it's up to your movement phase now.
I'm gonna go.
Unless you want more fire, I don't think you. Technically, that's a clear hex. These guys can see this hex.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's losing even more time, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, they're gonna go G6, G5, G4.
No issues there. Now that technical's burning, they clear the road.
That's what I was worried about.
1, 2, 3 to cross the wall. 4. They have 2 movement points left.
G3.
Cool. Yeah, in G4, I'd be shooting through a building X, so I can't do that. I can take opportunity fire if I want, but you're in the building and you're not adjacent, so I would get no bonuses, so I will not do it.
Okay.
Cool.
And then Jacobson is going to haul ass over to those casualties. So that'll be I-10, J9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And then,
6. Let me make sure of that.
Yep, and then
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there's no way to actually get. This is my Marine game that one time. There's no way to actually get them in one turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because
then
K10.
assault move in at the end.
Oh yeah, no shit. You
Yeah,
will
yeah,
assault
okay.
move into there, but that's never mind. I keep forgetting that. You're right.
But yeah, there's no actual way to move in there straight away. It was just...
But then there's assault movement, and then there's after action phase, which is when the casualty evacuation phase takes place. So you're good.
Cool.
I forgot about that.
I think that's everybody.
Okay. When you were starting your movement phase, we will roll for our civilians super fast. 2 civilians will move. Civilian 1 and Civilian 3 will move. Civilian 1 moves in direction 3.
I was going to say, if he ran into H8 and cut my fucking Humvee off.
Number 1. He's running away from the Americans. This guy's running towards the Americans. He's like, we want to surrender, or, they're looking for protection. Civilian movement is totally randomized, but we found that no matter what they do, there's like a narrative reason you can make up for why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're either panicked, or they're running away, or they're running towards you, or they're trying to surrender, or they want your protection. Okay, so now we go to my defensive fire phase, which I don't really have any. I mean, I have this, but it's not really worth it.
They could also be trying to sell you stuff. I remember reading I can't remember the name of the book. There was a memoir about a guy in Afghanistan, and they're in a firefight with the Taliban, and there's a merchant who keeps trying to sell them. I think it's like knockoff pistols from what's that province that near Pakistan.
Kandahar? There was the Kandahar road?
He's basically trying to sell him these like knockoff Pakistani pistols as they're in the middle of a firefight. So, anyway,
well, the Peshawar Islands are in, I think, Pakistan. You know what? Gaz has already left, but I guess I should document my building and trip to Adepticon. That'd be cool, Rasmus. You can put it in the project thread. You're working on all
definitely
those.
Adepticon.
Yeah, you're getting ready with all those pirates for Blood and Plunder. Okay, if we do now American assault phase. Boom. Any movement from your other team up here? Or are they happy where they are?
They're gonna go into F2.
They have eyes on the objective. They can now see the crash site. As soon as they reach A2, that's the end of the game. Then we just add up casualties and we see how bloody it was. Okay, meanwhile, down here, after action phase, we have... Alrighty, we have 2 teams. So, the question... Oh, we also have a medic. Okay, so first off, let me zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on here. There's a lot of... This is a miniature hospital going on down here. Okay, first up, the medic can automatically get rid of 1 casualty. Automatically, evacuated to the rear. That's why you have medics. You don't have to make rolls. You've got 2 infantry units left. Jacobson can help him make his roll, or he can make his own roll. Basically, he can apply his -2, or he can make a roll whichever you want. You want 2 rolls at 7, or do you want 1 roll at 9? Is the long and short of it.
I'm gonna have to make 2 rolls.
Okay. So, yep.
Cool. So the first one, 7.
Made it.
And the next one, 4.
Made it. Okay, now, there's one casualty that nobody has, that's down the end of the turn, that nobody could evacuate. You have to roll a d6,
Yep.
try not to roll a 5 or a 6.
6.
He
So
just died.
bleeds out.
That was a bleed out check, and he has passed. But you got 3 out of 4. And obviously you own this hex. Oh jeez. I'm duplicating counters here. Don't do that, dude. This game is crazy enough as it is as far as points goes. Okay, so we now have 4 unsecured casualties. And looks like 5 secured casualties. Nobody else left on the table. That's the end of American turn 3. Cool. Somali turn 4. Or sorry, Somali turn 3. Oh no! I only rolled 4 on my mob check. That is 3 teams, not whatchamacallits. Not squads. Basically a squad and a half. Alright.
Ooh.
That's not really legal.
No,
So
it is.
I'm too close. Well, I'm also too close to that
spawn,
sniper.
the spawn. Okay. I was gonna say, wow, I've been, yeah. No. That is a massive assault hex, which would be perfect for you.
Well, they're all half squads, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for my phase. Direct fire. No, because I want to move instead. Movement phase.
Sniper will take a shot.
Don't know if he has line of sight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, it'd be
Yeah,
blocked by the
because
building.
he's falling
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
deeper into the building.
Yeah. So, although he can cover the sort of mini airfield
Right.
courtyard thing there. So.
Okay. Oh, and as I start my movement, I will roll for some casualties, or not casualties, civilians. 2 and 3 move. So these guys are still running somewhere. 6. They go right back where they were. They're running towards you. Hey! And then these guys move 2 hexes, also to number 6.
What they're doing is they're running around going, "Watch out, man! We had a sniper."
Yeah. Okay. That's it for my movement phase. I have no assaults, so I don't think there's any opportunity fire. Your defensive fire, you do have some defensive fire if you want it. You have to shoot across a wall and into a building. But you do have it.
Yeah, I might as well take it. Although risking a sniper, but I think it's worth it.
Alright, you have to subtract net, or add net 2 to your roll. So it's +3, -1. 6 + 1.
A 6 + 1 goes to 7.
Casualty point. Cool. Alright, so that will wrap up Somali turn 4, or Somali turn 3, beginning American turn 4. And I'm pretty sure we're going to wrap up the stream here. Because again, it's all about when you reach that hex. and you're actually within striking distance of that hex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 easily. I'm going to get one opportunity fire phase, assuming I don't get enough guys on you. Yeah. So first, not to let's do this correctly. I don't think there's going to be any divisions or subtractions or anything like that.
Nope. No divisions and subtractions.
Okay. Or no command phase stuff.
Yep.
I wasn't really clear. You know what? This again. Some of this is just kind of not role play, but play test our way through one of these type games. And kind of like these are the kind of questions you're going to run across. Mobs need to be a little bit more detailed as far as what comes on the table. It can't just be teams and squads. And number 2, off-road rules for these vehicles. Like right now, this Humvee is blocked, but could he have 1, 2, 3, 4? Obviously, the movement rate would be slower, but I'd never specified rules for that. In other words, Humvees don't have to stick to roads. Double movement rate for off-roads or something like that.
Yep.
But no worries.
Yep.
Okay. Oh no. So then we go to your again. I don't know if you want any direct fire, but
no, I don't think I'll do any direct fire.
All right.
No.
Again, this OBS. What the deuce? Okay. Movement is going to be. I'm assuming trying to get across this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trying to get to that crash site. Once you're at the crash site and you've secured the crash site, then the little birds come in, the OH-6s. All Somalis die. The whole thing friggin' blows up or whatever. But you have to get there and get to those wounded first before they can do that.
Yep.
So long story short, what that really means is I'm gonna get one opportunity fire here of a total of 16 points, no bonuses, +2 for cover from the wrecked chopper. That counts as a semi-destroyed building. So 16 + 2, and oh man, turn on the webcam right here, dude. Jesus Christ.
Double ones.
No. 10 + 2 is 12 on 16. That was 12. That is no hits. So that's it. That's game.
Awesome.
Now let's see who actually took too many casualties there. Rate. I'm looking at Rasmus's chat here. Pirates +8 ship, 6th rate ship, a little light in guns. Yeah, that's.
Wow. 6th rate in a Blood and Plunder. Wow.
Well, yeah, that's a very small ship, right? Still, in Blood and
No,
Plunder.
that's a huge ship for. Like I've got brigs and sloops, and he's got a 6th rate. It's
Okay,
like 20-something guns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Blood and Plunder is like it's actually got like jolly boats and things like that in it. So yeah, right, 6th rate is massive.
But the higher the number, the smaller the ship, right? Like a first rate is.
Yeah.
Big, okay.
Oh yeah. Like a 6th rate's technically a ship of the line, but it's
well, yeah,
it's basically just a sloop.
Once it has a rating, it's a ship of the line, but there's like different sizes. Okay.
Yeah, 6th rate is tiny in big scale, but in Blood and Plunder it's huge. It's like having a Bradley in this or something.
Oh god, yeah. This is technically it's a light armored fighting vehicle, but a Bradley on this game would be like the Death Star, yeah. Oh god. Okay, so victory points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Plus you assaulted me twice, that's going to be 2 POWs, 4 points apiece. 19 plus 8 is 27. If I got that right. Versus, well, right there is 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 20. 52 to 27.
2 points off being 2 to 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 20 plus 32 is 52 is my score. And you have destroyed of mine 27 points because we added 8 points for 2 prisoners of war.
Yep.
Cool.
Awesome.
We might have missed a casualty. We might have missed a prisoner in there or two. that would maybe make it like 36 or maybe even 40. But again, what we know for sure is the Americans took 52 points worth of casualties. He did accomplish the objective. He just lost too many people, which is kind of the historical outcome of Battle of Mogadishu. Technically, they did bring everybody home. Well, actually, no, they didn't. The Michael Durant, they only
a couple of weeks later.
11 days later. They did get some high-profile targets at that initial hit point, but not the ones you were looking for. And again, they just took too many casualties. So this was a learning experience as a designer. I do have to add a few more rules in here for off-roading with vehicles and for tweak those mob rules a little bit. I think those mob rules are a little OP. They're both OP and underpowered at the same time. There should be.
Yeah, because you're sacrificing your leaders and your support weapons.
No leaders, no
like
RPGs. It's literally just more mobs just appearing out of the woodwork, which is great, but that's just more people you got to deal with. And then it's like some sort of off-roading. Because again, these Humvees have a movement rate of 14. I think it's 15 if they stay on road. So if I didn't put roadblocks in here, they would reach that crash site on like turn 1. Or get blown up in the attempt. So unless I put an RPG on every street, and of course roadblocks were a big part of Battle of Mogadishu, so I wanted to put some. So it's kind of a threading the needle kind of thing. And if you thread the needle too precisely, your game threatens to turn into more of a reenactment rather than a war game. So you want to watch out for that too.
Rasmus says spawn points for the mobs.
Yeah,
which is the way that
Force
on Force does it.
It's exactly how Force on Force does it with their hotspots. It's one of my favorite mechanics from hotspots. Yeah, either
they can also move between the hotspots, which is
that's like your tunnels.
Yep.
And then conversely, First World Forces can attack and shut down those hotspots, and you don't get to pick what hotspot your guy rolls out of. You have 5 hotspots on the table. You roll a d6. If you roll a 6, you get to pick, but other than that, you get to, whatever your roll is. If you roll a 3, your reinforcements have to appear in hotspot number 3. If you roll a 4, it has to be number 4. If you roll a 6, you get to pick. Now, if the Americans or the First World Forces, the British, the Australians, if the First World Forces have shut down that hot point, and you roll that hot point, those reinforcements are lost, and they're considered destroyed units. They came out of the spider hole and were immediately captured. So, I might steal a little bit from old Force on Force there. Again, there's ideas here for further 1990s Valor and Victory games, and then there's also ideas for our upcoming 13 hours to 13 days Benghazi 2012 game. So we got some food for thought here. There's this was a good experiment. It didn't go as badly as I thought. And also, the Americans should have some sort of support options. The Americans should have some little birds. There are no mortar strikes, but there were helicopter gunships flying all over the place. During this, or snipers from the helicopters or something. Because this game, I don't know if you felt the same way, but this game was becoming a little unfair toward the Americans. Or I should say against the Americans.
To be fair, I did run off randomly. What I should have done is just fought it up and then headed down the 11s and then up A. That's probably what I should have done. Yeah,
you do have 2 whole turns left. You have plenty of time.
Should have slogged all the way up and all the way up to A, and that would have been much less bloody.
Yeah, and another thing
left
is
the Humvees behind us.
Almost right off the bat, you had that road. Even without a roadblock, you could technically get to there. Just head up this road. Yeah, you can take Humvees most of the way. But I see. A. It's about this road over here to the far west. I'm sorry.
So I could have like debuffed from the Humvees and then just Death Starred and just marched.
And what else was I going to say? Another thing was when the Americans got divided between this road and this apartment building. Once that happened, the Somalis started to drool. They're like, "Oh, we got them now."
Yeah. That was my mistake.
That's an issue there. But good game. A lot of food for thought for me as a designer. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit.
I had a great time.
Awesome, cool. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and open up Mr. Webcam here before I sign off for the night. We're going to go ahead and take off for the night. Thanks very much as always for supporting us. This was our first playtest of expanding Valor Victory by Barry Doyle into the 1990s. We've had success with backtracking it into World War I, 1918 specifically. And we've had success with 1967 Vietnam, 82 Lebanon, and 82 Falklands. But in 1990s, some cracks are finally starting to show as far as how far you can really push this system. Because, again, now everyone has a grenade launcher. In World War II, that's a light mortar. So it gets, it starts to get scary. Everyone carries an STG-44. Everyone carries every fire team has at least one light machine gun in the form of an M249 saw or equivalent weapon. Things are. I think the game is finally starting to creak a little bit. But that's just a little bit more thought and work you have to put into playtesting, and we'll see where that takes us. Also, some of the lessons from here are going to be put in towards our 13 days to 13 hours Benghazi game. Again, a lot of ways thematically similar. Americans and vehicles have to cross a city in chaos and get to people in need, while a city continues to erupt around them or whatever in a semi-random way. So there's a lot going on here. But for now, we're going to go ahead and close out the stream. Thanks very much to everyone for supporting us. Check out our podcast that just went up. And again, thanks very much for all your support. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and log off. Thanks again, everybody. And we'll be in touch later on this week.
Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Trhe.